One of the great benefits of producing the Forward Report for you each week is that we get around the studs. We're in the field all year round and there's always something new happening. Here at the newly established Kendayla Park, owners Russell and Robin Rogers have installed an Aqua walker. Now this is something brand new to the New Zealand racing and breeding industry, and already it's created a ton of interest. Robin, I understand you first saw an Aqua walker in Australia. Tell us about what you observed, and obviously you were impressed.
Look, Adrian, it's something we've been thinking about for a number of years now. Actually, really when we started training a few of our own racehorses, which is 3 or 4 years ago, and we only play around with a few, but you're always looking at a way you can do something better. And we have, at the yearling sales, been able to talk to a number of Australian trainers and pick their brains, so to speak. And just in the last couple of years, we've had more and more of the Australian trainers telling us they're using the Aqua walkers that are in Australia and having a lot of success with them for different reasons. So we actually tossed around the idea and thought we should actually look into it a bit further. And we went to Australia a couple of times, and there are 3 or 4 of them in Australia already, and we went and had a look at the different ones and thought, would that be something that would benefit our horses? And that was the main thing. We thought if we could say we really thought it would benefit our own horses, then surely other people would think the same. Well, that's sort of the logic we were using. And so we did. We went and had a look, and they're all the same concept, but they're all a little bit different. So we were in probably quite a fortunate position in that other people had done the groundwork, and we could go and pick the best things, what we think are the best things, from the 3 or 4 different ones that we saw, and went from there. We came back and approached Magnum actually about building one. They had never done anything like this before, but were keen to take it on. And they also went to Australia and had a look at what was available over there. And so between the two of us, putting it all together, that's what we've come up with.
In a nutshell, Russell, what are its best benefits?
I think the best benefit is getting horses off the track, and it works in a lot of different ways. Like for pre-training, a lot of Australians are using it for doing a lot of pre-training, which means that horses coming into work, it's getting fitness up without having to sort of pound around a track. So it's getting the miles into its legs without actually putting pressure on its legs. And also for horses that are in work that either need a bit of a freshen up. There's a lot of Australian trainers that are using them, horses that had 3 or 4 runs. They send them out to what they call the water farm over there. They're out there for a break, they keep their fitness up, and then they're going straight back in. And some horses are only back in work basically for 3 days and they're back off to the races. So it's, for those horses, it's mental and physical. But a lot of trainers are saying that they're getting more runs out of their horses because they can actually do that. If they just keep them in the stable, they might be going a little bit sour, but they can get them out, freshen them up, straight back in, straight back to the races. So, more runs per prep for what you're racing for in Australia and what we're starting to race for here, I think it's a huge benefit.
Yeah, Robin, as much as anything, it's a change of the training regime, and Love Trista we've seen today is a perfect example of that.
Look, she is. To be honest, when we were just about finished completing the walker, and one of the first people to approach us and ask if they could come and have a look was Sir Patrick Hogan, and he came around with Marcus, and they had a look, and we put a horse on just to show them. That was in the very early days, and that's only 2 or 3 weeks ago now. But Patrick spoke to us at that time about the possibility of Love Trista coming, and we said we'd be delighted if she could come. She's obviously one of the best 3-year-old fillies from this season, and she's had 1 or 2 little problems, but I think they're thinking now they need to get her back into work. She's had a little spell, so she's basically here for pre-training, and everyone's wrapped. She's, as you could see, she's really enjoying it.
Russell, everyone would be watching this and saying, gee, that water's crystal clear, it's like a swimming pool. How do you keep it so clean?
That was one of the biggest tasks when we set about doing the walker, is we did see one in Australia that had no filtration on it, and it was like they were walking around in a dirty river, which it is very important to have that water clean. So we've probably gone overboard, but we've got 4 massive big filters in the shed which is inside there. Each filter actually draws off about 500 litres of water a minute. It draws it through the skimmers. There's 10 skimmers around the outside which takes anything off the top, and floor drains, and those pumps are sort of running probably 12-14 hours a day to keep that water clean like that. But the last thing you want to be doing is putting a horse in there that's maybe had a little bit of a nick on a leg or something. and you put them into dirty water. So the cleanliness of the water is one of the most important things for the whole operation.
Robin, it seems like a great system. I mean, what's a horse's first reaction the very first time they're asked to walk into that pool?
Look, we're delighted. When we put it in, we actually thought on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the easiest, it might be a 6 or a 7 as to the ease of getting them on, and it's way surpassed our expectations. It's probably a 9. They come out, have a look, and you literally, the entrance way to see is it's a great design, and you put them on and they you roll the rubber sheet along behind them. The first time a couple of them are like, oh, there's a little bit of water, a little bit hesitant, and you just give them, you just push the little rubber up behind them, they walk in, and then as soon as they've got their front feet in, they just march on in. And the beauty, or the most important thing is by day 2, they're just marching straight on in. So they are enjoying it, and it hasn't been any hassle at all getting them in.
I was interested, Russell, halfway through the process, you stopped it, you turned them around, so they walk one way, then the other.
Yeah, I think with any sort of exercise with horses, it's better off that they're working both ways. You don't want them building up muscles on one side and not on the other. So, same as most people just use with a conventional walker, is they will walk them both ways. It's very easy to turn them around. As soon as you slow it down, stop it, 95% of them then just automatically turn themselves and they're ready to go the other way. So, it's just part of keeping everything even, keep them, help them keep sound, basically.